getting to play in front of fans for the first time in over a year.
Oh yeah, man, it was crazy, man. It's always nice playing in front of fans because it's always fun having the crowd noise and just it just brings more of it just helps out with the vibe, whether they're booing you or cheering for you. It's just nice having fans out there.
Even in a road game, a road environment, just being able to hear that. It seemed like all of the pass rushers were really feeding off of that. You guys looked like you were having more fun than maybe last year when you were playing in silence.
Oh yeah, I would say like playing on the road is always. It's nice playing at home, but when you're playing on the road, it's a lot more quiet. You can hear like the cadence. You can hear what they're saying. It's a lot easier to get like better cues sometimes. But it's always just nice having the fans out there, like I said before.
Looking back at last season, you spent a little bit of time out with the singer, and then you came back, and by the end of the season, playing a larger role. When you were looking back and reflecting on the season, what were you happy with, and what were some areas that you felt like you needed to improve upon?
Things I was happy with last year?
Last year, yeah.
Okay.
Looking back at how you played, especially when the defense was playing better down the stretch.
Things I was happy with. Myself or like as a group?
It could be for you and for the team. Individually, though, first.
Overall last year, I'm not really happy with the way it went because I missed like 6-7 games and I was injured, and I really hate being injured because it's like, because I work really hard in the offseason to play in the games and to be productive, and I felt like that just wasn't the case last year. So, but some things I kind of was happy with was being able to have a role, because that's always like one thing you worry about when you hurt. You sometimes may lose your role, your spot, But I was happy with just being able to go out there and play football, because that's something you just can't take for granted.
Looking at the off-season, obviously this off-season, not everything is normal yet with the pandemic and stuff, but compared to last year, did you make any significant changes in how you approached this off-season? What were the areas you were emphasizing to really work on?
Some things I really focused on was doing like a lot more stuff for my neck. That's something I've never really done, even though I've been playing football for years. It's like doing neck exercises and training stuff for my traps and neck. That's something I've always, it's just one of those things you don't really think on working on until you actually hurt it, and that's something I don't ever want to happen again. That's something, I like playing football for as long as I can. So, that's one thing I was doing more was stuff for my neck, and I also started doing some kickboxing, just like another way to get some cardio in and like work with my hand speed and bring hand conditioning, and that's something I thought was great.
So that was something you added this year, was the kickboxing.
Yeah, kickboxing. It's like a total body cardio, it's just a different type of exercise versus doing like football drills and weightlifting. It's just another thing to mix it up. And
so out here on the field, did you notice early, like in OTAs and stuff like that, did you notice a difference from doing that? Because with hand quickness and technique and stuff?
I just feel like my hands don't get as tired, my feet don't get as tired as I would say throughout the game. I felt like versus in previous games where sometimes I feel more sluggish, and I feel like just like in better shape.
You mentioned trying to find a role and having concern, when you miss time coming back and trying to figure out where you fit into the defensive line puzzle. But it looks like they've given you more snaps playing outside than what you did last year. Is that something that you prefer, or does it not matter where you line up at?
When I say prefer, it's something, I'm going to be happy regardless of where I'm out there playing on the field. The team asked me to play more outside and like a more of an edge role, and I'm just going to embrace that role and just go out there do the best I can.
I noticed in the game, it seemed like you were getting a 2-point stance quite a bit, standing up off the edge. Is that something, I'd have to go back and watch the film more, but it didn't seem like that was something they had you doing a lot the first couple years here.
That's something I probably did about like 2 or 3 times. Last time I was really in the 2-point was my rookie year, and I was like, when we played like the Broncos and the Bears, and I was a rookie. I remember being in a 2-point stance. I don't remember ever being in a 2-point stance since, but you know, that's something I've been practicing on, and I feel like a lot more comfortable than what I did in the previous years. You know.
How much of that do you think has to do with the way the scheme functions? Because you guys have been doing more 5-player fronts, like those bear fronts and stuff. Just being in that 2-point stance, is it more advantageous for you when you're lined up out there wide than having a hand in the dirt?
I feel like being in the 2-point stance. I used to be against being in a 2-point stance. I've been had my hand in the ground ever since high school or ever since I started playing football. But being in a 2-point stance allows me to see the field better and allows me just to see what the offense is doing, because it's a lot easier to see what they're doing in the 2-point versus the 3-point. I can still make my calls and I can still have a good get off as long as I have my feet right and whatnot. You know, that's something I always worried about. My 2-point's not going to be good as my 3-point, but you know, just as long as I don't take a false step, my every get off's still the same.
You got your first chance to play with Darrell on Saturday.
Yeah.
What does having a guy with that kind of burst, especially when you move inside in your cheetah package, playing 3-tech, how much does having a guy with that kind of speed positively benefit you rushing inside?
Having a guy like Darrell is really nice because just, you know, for the way I like to rush, I feel like having someone like Darrell really complements I feel like our rush, the way we rush kind of complements each other, because he's a fast guy, likes to get off. I like to work edges versus trying to run down the middle of guards. And I feel like when I rush high and he rushes high, that helps me hit the B gap harder, and it also helps him with his counters. That can also help him get some different sacks just by coming inside by me rushing high, or you know, by just us trying to have a plan.
Well, we don't have those protocols.
You're entering the last year of your rookie deal. Have you thought at all about the prospects of free agency, and what are your goals for this year, individually and as a defense?
Individually, my goal is really just to not look too far ahead. Just take this year one day at a time, one game at a time, 1 week at a time. Not look too far ahead, because the only thing I can't worry about is what's in front of me now. So that's kind of the approach I'm taking.